Hi, I'm Leilani Navar at Your Cycle Days. Recently, there have been a few new tech options that offer natural birth control. So a lot of folks are excited about these apps, but if you have irregular cycles, you might be reading that this kind of system won't work for you. And a few people have asked me, why is it that these apps won't work if you have irregular cycles, but the Justisse method will work? So let's talk about what exactly those apps are doing. They're calculating your fertile days, predicting them based on past cycle data and basal body temperature. So any system that's going to predict your fertile days based on past data relies on some predictability. This is going to be true of an app that's using a sophisticated algorithm or of something like the standard days method or the old rhythm method. If you're using a fertility awareness method that relies on checking cervical mucus day by day to tell you whether or not you're fertile that day, then it really doesn't matter whether the cycle you're in looks anything like a cycle you've had in the past. Remember that cervical mucus tells you that ovulation is approaching. Sperm can live in that cervical mucus and wait for ovulation. BVT shift, your temperature shift, tells you that ovulation has passed. No matter how long your cycle is, if you're checking consistently for cervical mucus, you're going to have what you need to know to be confident about which days are fertile and which days are infertile. Remember that an app relying on past cycle data and BBT can only predict the days that you're likely to be fertile before ovulation. Only after ovulation, after your BBT shift, can you be sure that you're not fertile. If your cycle is shorter than your app is expecting, you might be fertile before it tells you that you are. This is a risk if you're trying to avoid pregnancy. If your cycle is longer than your app is expecting, or if your app knows that you have irregular cycles and so it's making room for that, then it might tell you you have way more fertile days before ovulation than you actually do. And that can just be frustrating if you're waiting for infertile days to have sex. Those apps can be pretty accurate when your cycle is regular. But remember that every woman has some variation in her cycle length from time to time. During perimenopause, it's really common to have a cycle that's shorter than the cycles you're used to. Perimenopause usually starts in your late 40s, but it can happen much earlier, around age 35 in some cases. And when you have a cycle that's shorter than you're used to, ovulation and your fertile days come earlier than you're used to. When that happens, a form of natural birth control that's relying on predictability could fail you. It's still an option. They're all still options if you decide that's what suits you best, but I am all about making a fully informed choice. So I want to make sure that you know what you're choosing. The best way that I know of to be confident that you're keeping up with any changes your body might be going through cycle to cycle is to be watching your cervical mucus in real time, so you can be confident you know each day whether or not you're fertile that day. Thanks for watching. Come visit me at yourcycledays.com.